good morning viewers. Thank you for tuning into Republic TV. You're watching Quick Morning, where we take you through the top stories from around the country and the world. We'll also delve into the world of business, sports, entertainment and a lot more to set the tone for you. So stay tuned as we get started. The BJP has released its first list of 99 candidates for the election to the 288-member Maharashtra Assembly. The list includes the names of Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, Mumbai BJP President Ashish Shelar, fielded from the Vandre West seat, and senior party leader and Lok Sabha MP Narayan Rane's son Nitesh Rane, fielded from Kankavli, a seat he currently represents in the Assembly. The BJP also fielded its Maharashtra President Chandrasekhar Bawankule from Kamthi, former State President Chandrakant Patil from Kothurud, and former Chief Minister Ashok Chavan's daughter Srijaya Chavan from Bhokar. While Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis will file his nomination papers from Nagpur Southwest Assembly constituency later today. Before filing the papers, Fadnavis and two other leaders will pay floral tributes to Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's statue. Maharashtra will go to polls in a single phase on November 20th, and the counting of votes will take place on November 23rd. As many as 57 candidates file nomination papers on Tuesday. Additionally, as per data shared by the EC, the Nawapur constituency saw 4 nominations, followed by 3 in Khed, Alandi and Shefgaon in Pune and Ahilyanagar districts respectively. On Thursday evening, terrorists opened fire at an armed vehicle in Bota Patri area, injuring 4 soldiers, amongst whom were 2 army porters. As per reports, the vehicle was headed for the Nagin post in the Afravat range, whilst during the retaliatory fire, 2 soldiers were heavily injured and said to be in critical condition. The area is said to be completely dominated by the army, and there have been reports of terrorist groups' infiltrations in the past, especially during the early summer months. Terrorists are known to take shelter within the higher reaches of the Afravat range. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah issued a statement and has called the recent spate of attacks in the valley a matter of serious concern. Alongside the Chief Minister's statement, former Chief Minister and PDP Chief Mehbooba Mufti also condemned the attack and prayed for the recovery of the injured. Over 250,000 people in Bengal have been evacuated ahead of Cyclone Dana, as it is expected to make a landfall in Odisha anytime soon. The Indian Meteorological Department has indicated that the storm is 150 kilometers southeast of Paradip and 250 kilometers southeast of the Sagar Island. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee stated that over 350,000 individuals in low-lying areas have been identified for evacuation, with many already in the relief camps. As conditions worsen, the IMD has warned of heavy rainfall across southern Bengal, including Kolkata and nearby districts. With wind speeds potentially reaching up to 120 kilometers per hour, public transport remains heavily affected, with over 170 train cancellations and flight operations, and the Kolkata airport being suspended from 6 p.m. Thursday to 9 a.m. Friday. Authorities have also deployed disaster management teams and urged residents to stay safe. The Chief Minister issued a statement reassuring people that she will be closely monitoring the situation alongside the Chief Secretary, whilst urging people to stay indoors. The NCP SP on Thursday announced the candidature of Yogendra Pawar against his uncle and Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar from Baramati, as the party released its first list of 45 candidates for the November 20th State Assembly elections. Ajit Pawar, who became the president of the Nationalist Congress Party after parting ways with his uncle and party founder Sharad Pawar last year, is the sitting MLA from the Baramati Assembly constituency in Pune district, whilst Yogendra is the son of Ajit Pawar's younger brother Srinivas. Other prominent names in the NCP SP list include State Chief Jayant Patil from Islampur, Jitendra Ahawat from Mumbra Kalwa, Anil Deshmukh from Katol, Harshvardhan Patil from Indapur, and Rohit Patil, son of late R.R. Patil, who is making his electoral debut this year. Delhi BJP President Virendra Sachdeva on Thursday took a dip in the heavily polluted waters of the Yamuna river, slamming the former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal over his failure to fulfill his promise of cleaning it by 2025. Sachdeva, after the dip, faced skin rashes and slight discomfort in breathing and was examined by the doctors at the RML hospital, who prescribed him medicines for 3 days. Senior AAP leaders and Environment Minister Gopal Rai hit back, saying the drama of the BJP has been intensifying, like the rising pollution levels, while blaming the establishment in UP and Haryana for being responsible for the pollution in the Yamuna river. The Samajwadi Party, part of the INDI alliance, will contest all 9 assembly seats in Uttar Pradesh for the upcoming bypolls on November 13th. This decision was made following a conversation between SP President Akhilesh Yadav and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. Akhilesh announced on X that all the candidates from the alliance will run under the SP's election symbol, and he further emphasized that the focus is on winning rather than seat allocation. The authorities of Kolkata, Bhubaneswar and Jharsuguda airports on Thursday received threats about the presence of bombs on different flights. However, the threats were later ascertained to be hoax. A threat about the presence of bombs on an Akasa air flight at the Biju Patnaik International Airport in Bhubaneswar was received on social media. However, the threat was later vetted to be a hoax. The National Investigation Agency on Thursday arrested a close associate of Khalistani terrorist Arshdeep Singh Dala, alias Arsh Dala, from the Delhi airport. Baljeet Singh, alias Baljeet Maur of Bhatinda, Punjab, was also taken into custody by the NIA on his arrival at the Indira Gandhi International Airport from the UAE. NIA investigations have revealed that Baljeet Maur was involved in logistic support, identification of extortion targets, recruitment of the new cadres, as well as terror funding to India-based associates of Arsh Dala of the proscribed outfit Khalistan Tiger Force. A non-bailable warrant of arrest was issued against him in June 2024, while a lookout circular was also issued earlier in February. Viewers, now let's take a look at the business stories to get you rolling about the economy and all the corporate workings. A senior Indian government official has stated that signs of improved relations with China will not alter New Delhi's plans to implement tariffs on steel. Despite a recent meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping, the official confirmed that the proposed tariffs are not country-specific and will apply to all the imports. This decision comes as Indian steel mills face a surge in cheap imports, particularly from China, which reached a 7-year high between April and August. The official emphasized that the tariffs are a safeguard measure aimed at protecting India's domestic steel industry, which is seeing increased demand due to the rapid economic growth and heightened infrastructure spending. Swiggy has revised its internal valuation target for its upcoming IPO between $12.5 billion and $13.5 billion, down from the previous goal of $15 billion, according to internal sources. Now, this adjustment comes as after the company's adoption of a cautious stance amid the current market volatility, wherein it originally planned on a $1.4 billion IPO in November. The IPO was deemed to be the second largest public offering in India of the year. Swiggy, backed by SoftBank and Prosus, aims to list on the Mumbai Stock Exchange on November 13th, with subscription opening the week prior. Although the schedule may shift depending on market conditions, roadshows are set to begin on October 30th across various Indian cities to promote the offering. ITC Limited reported a 3% rise in profit to Rs 5,078 crore for the second quarter ended September 30th, falling short of analyst expectations of Rs 5,114 crore as higher input costs and a slowdown in consumer demand took toll. The company, known for its flagship Gold Flake cigarettes, attributed its weaker performance to subdued demand, heavy rains in some regions, high food inflation, and a significant rise in the input costs. Now, total expenses all surged by 21% during the quarter, driven by increased prices for its key raw materials such as tobacco leaf, cocoa, and crude oil, reflecting broader challenges faced by consumer good companies in India amid an economic slowdown. Rice export rates have dropped across major Asian hubs this week following India's decision to abolish export duties on this April, raising concerns over supply in the market. after India lifted the export tax on parboiled rice and removed the $490 per metric ton floor price for non-basmati white rice. Rates fell in both India and Vietnam to their lowest levels in over a year. A trader in Ho Chi Minh City noted that Vietnamese rice prices had decreased due to the competitive pricing from other exporting countries, while Thailand's 5% broken rice and also saw a decline, dropping to $510 per ton. Additionally, Bangladesh has cut rice import duties by 37% in response to severe flooding that destroyed nearly 1.1 million tons of its crop. Oil prices have surged by approximately 4% this week, reversing part of last week's significant 7% drop, driven by a combination of geopolitical concerns, particularly in the Middle East, and supply uncertainty. This week's rebound follows several factors that have rattled markets, from escalating tensions between Israel and Hezbollah to US crude inventory reports, as well as reports of North Korea possibly aiding Russia in Ukraine, all attributing to heightened global uncertainty. In addition to inventory data, a stronger US dollar, which hit its highest level since July, typically exerts downward pressure on oil prices. However, this has been offset by the dominant influence of geopolitical risk, with the markets focused firmly on the potential for further conflict in the Middle East. Brent crude rose by 1.7% to $76.22 dollars per barrel as of Thursday morning, while the West Texas Intermediate climbed 1.8% to $72.03, reflecting these tensions. Viewers, now it's time for us to delve into the top stories from across the globe, so stay tuned. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres reiterated calls for peace in the Middle East and Ukraine as he addressed leaders and officials on the final day of the BRICS bloc of developing economy summit in Russia, speaking at what was dubbed as the BRICS Plus session, which included countries that are considering joining the bloc. Guterres urged for an immediate end to the fighting in Gaza, Lebanon, Ukraine and Sudan. Russian President Vladimir Putin, who held a series of bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the summit, met Guterres later on. This is the first visit of UN Secretary General to Russia in more than 2 years. The three-day summit in the city of Kazan has covered the deepening financial cooperation, including the development of alternatives to Western-dominated payment systems, efforts to settle regional conflicts, and expansion of the BRICS group of nations.
The message of today's emissions gap report is clear. We are teetering on a planetary tightrope. Either leaders bridge the emissions gap, or we plunge headlong into climate disaster, with the poorest and most vulnerable suffering the most. This report shows annual greenhouse gas emissions at an all-time high, rising 1.3% last year. They must fall 9% each year to 2030 to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoid the very worst of climate change.
Hundreds of people marched in the streets of Jerusalem on Thursday night, calling for the release of Israeli hostages in Gaza as the Jewish holiday of Simchat Torah began. The holiday marks the conclusion of the annual cycle of public Torah readings and features traditional celebrations, including dancing around a Torah scroll. This demonstration followed an Israeli airstrike on a school sheltering displaced people in the central Gaza Strip, which Palestinian medical officials reported killed at least 17 individuals, now primarily women and children. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken announced that Israel had achieved its goal of effectively dismantling Hamas and that negotiations for a ceasefire and a release of the hostages would resume in the coming days. A memorial service was held in Tehran on Thursday for Hashim Safieddin, a prominent Hezbollah official killed by Israeli strikes in Lebanon earlier this month. At around 60 years old, Safieddin was seen as a potential successor to Hassan Nasrallah, one of the Hezbollah's founders. Attendees, including hardliners, waved Palestinian and Hezbollah flags while displaying images of the slain leaders from both the groups. Khaled Kaddoumi, Hamas's representative in Iran, spoke at the event, emphasizing that Hamas would continue fighting until either martyrdom or victory, while attendees expressed their commitment to Iran's support for militant causes. President Joe Biden traveled to Arizona's Indian country to deliver a formal apology for the U.S. government's role in the Indian boarding school system, which harmed generations of indigenous children and their families. As he left the White House, Biden expressed that he was heading to do something that should have been done a long time ago, emphasizing the importance of addressing this historical wrong. During his visit to the Gila River Indian community, he planned to apologize for the abuse and neglect faced by Native American children and reaffirm his administration's commitment to supporting the tribal nations. This visit is seen as particularly significant ahead of the upcoming election, where mobilizing support from indigenous voters could be crucial in a tightly contested state.
I'm heading to do something that should have been done a long time ago. Make a formal apology to the Indian nations for the way we treated their children for so many years. That's why I'm going, that's why I'm heading west. Thank you.
Vice President Kamala Harris celebrated endorsements from former Republican Representative Fred Upton of Michigan, Wisconsin Mayor Sean Riley, an independent who shifted parties after the January 6, 2021 Capitol insurrection. Speaking in Philadelphia, Harris described these endorsements and evidence that leaders from both political parties recognize the stakes of the upcoming election and are courageously voicing their support. Upton's backing adds to the bipartisan endorsements for Harris, who has recently campaigned alongside former GOP Congresswoman Liz Cheney, both of whom voted to impeach Donald Trump following the Capitol riots. Harris also addressed concerns about a potential gender gap in her support, stating that she sees backing from both men and women, despite a recent poll suggesting some Americans believe her gender could hinder her chances in the elections.
Well, let me start by saying I'm really very proud to announce that we've had some endorsements this morning as we've been rolling out endorsements, but two leaders in the Republican Party, the mayor of Waukesha, and then, of course, former Representative Fred Upton. And this continues to be, I think, evidence of the fact that people who have been leaders in our country, regardless of their political party, understand what's at stake.
The Amazon River's dramatic decline in water levels is increasingly impacting local economies and food supplies across several countries, particularly in Colombia. Recent reports indicate that water levels have decreased between 80% and 90%, isolating the rural indigenous communities that rely on the river for survival. Fishermen from the Kokoma community are being forced to travel farther for dwindling catches, which is becoming costlier due to increased fuel expenses. In response, the Colombian government and non-profits are delivering essential supplies, including water and food, to the most affected areas. The National Unit for Disaster Risk Management has announced plans to provide motorized pumps and humanitarian assistance kits, but locals remain concerned about the long-term effects of consecutive severe droughts. Welcome back, viewers. Now let's get started with the world of sports first, and then we'll get back to you from the glitz and glamour entertainment world. Skipper Harmanpreet Singh and Sukhjit Singh scored a brace each to hand India a 5-3 win over world champions Germany in the second hockey test, but the hosts lost the two-match series via shootout at the Major Dhyan Chand Stadium. Former Indian women's hockey team captain Rani Rampal has announced her retirement on Thursday, ending a glittering 16-year career during which she became an inspiration for beating abject poverty and conservative views at a small town in Haryana where her father worked as a cart puller. The 29-year-old will sign off as one of India's most decorated hockey players after leading the women's team to its best ever finish at the Olympics, a fourth place at the Tokyo Games in 2021. All-rounder Washington Sundar justified his selection with a career-best 7 for 59 to help India bowl out New Zealand for 259, but the hosts lost skipper Rohit Sharma early in their first innings when stumps were drawn on the day of second test. India crawled to 16 for 1 in 11 overs with Yashasvi Jaiswal and Shubman Gill at the crease, trailing by another 243 runs in the first innings. Tim Southey cleaned up Rohit for a 9-ball duck, forcing the hosts to be extra cautious. India cricketer Sanjay Manjrekar has praised the team management and selectors' decision to rest Kuldeep and elect Washington Sundar in the playing 11 for the second India versus New Zealand test in Pune. The MCA Stadium tracks saw spinners being favoured and Sundar shined throughout the innings. He pointed out that Kuldeep was not needed for a play and a fast finger spinner would do the trick. The 25-year-old right-arm off spinner bowled a magical spell to claim 7 wickets for 59 in his 23.1 overs. Sundar produced the best bowling figures against New Zealand in the World Test Championship history. He became the first bowler to take 7 wickets against the Kiwis since inception of the WTC in 2019. Rachin Ravindra has turned out to be a star for New Zealand in the ongoing series against India. He smashed a brilliant century in testing conditions in Bengaluru and gave a good account of himself yet again in the second test being played in Pune. Ravindra scored 65 runs before getting dismissed. He went past Rohit Sharma in the list of most runs scored in the ongoing World Test Championship cycle. Ashwin started off the second test against New Zealand in Pune on 186 wickets in the ICC World Test Championship, just one behind Australian spin magician Nathan Lyon. Ashwin grabbed the first 3 wickets of the Kiwis' innings to make the record his own. His first of the day came in his very first over when he dismissed New Zealand captain Tom Latham for 15. The Maharashtra Cricket Association has apologized after a drinking water crisis hit a stadium in Pune, where the second test match between India and New Zealand is being held. On day 1 of the second test match, fans were forced into an intolerable situation as drinking water ran out when they went to the water booths following the end of the opening session's play. This led to fans raising slogans against the host association and demanding action. Ravi Shastri wasn't impressed with India's strategy and felt that the tactics were too defensive with the spinners in the first session of day 1. Along with Shastri, his 1983 World Cup teammate Sunil Gavaskar launched a scathing attack on India's current captain Rohit Sharma and called him a defensive and a negative captain during the second test between India and New Zealand. Jamie Smith bailed out England with a gallant half-century against Pakistan's spin attack on an engineered dry pitch to start the decisive third test. England was on the ropes at 118 for 6 shortly after lunch until Smith's 89 revived them to 267 all out. England reduced Pakistan to 73 for 3 by stumps, still trailing by 194 runs on a pitch fanned, heated and raked by the ground staff at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium. Let's get started with the entertainment stories to get you all the glittery and glamour stories. Cillian Murphy is set to return to the screen in the Irish drama Small Things Like These, marking his first role since his Oscar-winning performance in Oppenheimer. This film also represents his debut as a producer. Directed by Tim Millions and based on Claire Keegan's acclaimed book, the story unfolds at Christmas 1985 and follows Murphy as Bill Furlong, a coal miner, uncovering the dark secrets of a convent in his hometown. The film sheds light on the treatment of fallen young women in Ireland's Magdalene laundries as one of the characters grapples with haunting memories of his past. Murphy, a longtime admirer of Keegan's writing, based on whose storyline the plot revolves, revealed his admiration for her Booker Prize-awardee novel.
I just think it's an exquisite piece of writing. It's extraordinarily powerful, and it asks a lot of questions about, our country and about our history, and but it's kind of hopefully quite moving,
Seth Meyers is set to premiere his latest HBO Max stand-up special, Dad Man Walking, which explores the comedic chaos of parenting and marriage. In an interview, he shared how moments of disagreement with his wife and absurd situations with their 3 young children often inspire his material. Myers emphasized that after spending time with his family during the pandemic, he felt compelled to shift his focus from politics to the universal experiences of family life. The special, filmed live at the Wick Theatre in Chicago, features relatable anecdotes about everyday challenges, complexities of playing board games with his kids and growing up with them.
so loath to do that special about like a man complaining about his wife, but I want this to look. I don't hate when a guy's like, oh my God, that my wife also, mumbles when she walks out of a room. But I want to put in just as many for wives to say, to their husband, oh my, you do that as well. So it is the balance is very important to me. Whereas both sides politically is a completely useless waste of time, I do try to both sides my marriage.
The Pixies have launched their 10th studio album, The Night the Zombies Came, a diverse 13-track collection that showcases their evolution with new bassist Emma Richardson. Frontman Black Francis describes the album as a cinematic experience, with each song acting as a vignette that defies strict genre boundaries. Blending folk, punk and psychedelia, he emphasizes the band's eclectic approach to music, noting that they enjoy all popular genres rather than adhering to a single style. The album features tracks highlighting themes of performance and journey of the touring of the band.
I guess frequently lonely and kind of existential experience, whatever. Graphically, it's existential, just the multiple doors, going off there into eternity, and the numbers, and this is your number.
Samuel L. Jackson was honored Wednesday at the Museum of Modern Art's 2024 film benefits in New York. Jackson has appeared in more than 150 films, but some of his most popular roles are in Quentin Tarantino films, including Jackie Brown, Kill Bill, and Pulp Fiction. Talking about the honor, Denzel Washington, a close friend of the actor, said he's known Jackson since they were in their 20s, believes that despite Jackson's body of work, no role defines him. Instead, the role that defines him are his role as a father, as a husband, and a friend.
I've been going to award shows for a while, and it's special that this one is honoring me, yes. But even more so the fact that, it's by a group of people that preserve film and make sure that what we do becomes a lasting legacy for generations to come.
Lana Del Rey has officially married alligator swamp tour guide Jeremy Dufresne in Louisiana last month. Following weeks of speculation about their relationship, their marriage license was filed with the parish clerk of court, revealing that Los Angeles pastor Judah Smith, who also officiated the ceremony of Justin Bieber, was the same officiator. Zoe Saldana and Nicole Kidman are set to return for the highly anticipated second season of Taylor Sheridan's Lioness. The stars recently celebrated the upcoming season in Los Angeles, where they dazzled the red carpet. In this new season, their characters lead a CIA operation against a new terror group, navigating the challenges of personal sacrifice as they risk their lives while leaving their families behind. Steven Spielberg and Ron Howard were among the Hollywood luminaries in attendance at the AFI Fest premiere Wednesday of the documentary music by John Williams. The famed composer, himself now 92 and in reported ill health, did not attend the premiere in Hollywood. Williams has written more than 100 film scores. Among them are Star Wars, Jurassic Park, E.T., Indiana Jones, and Harry Potter. He's won 5 Oscars with 52 nominations, a number bested only by Walt Disney.
Well, there's so many, Born on the 4th of July and Schindler's List are powerful and dramatic, and yet you get the fanfares of, Star Wars or Indiana Jones or the whimsy of Harry Potter. I don't know, you name it. And I like what he did in Far and Away, too.
He's truly a legend.
Yeah.
There's nobody like him.
Yeah, he's, and also just,
Viewers, this is the end of today's edition of Quick Morning, but stay tuned to Republic TV as we bring you all the latest developments from across the country and the world, so don't go anywhere.